Hi all, good morning, good evening. Welcome to day 2 of our exclusive training provided by Isha Training Solutions, JMeter Beginner to Master with Groovy, Dynatrace, Kubernetes, Docker, InfluxDB, Grafana, Jenkins, and BlazeMeter. And as part of the training, we are also going to share the interview questions with each topic, right? As well as the questions will be related to the JMeter certification provided by BlazeMeter. So my name is Chandra, and I'll be your trainer for this, entire training batch. So, guys, yesterday we had the day one, right, of our regular sessions, and we discussed why performance testing is required, the three main factors: speed, scalability, and reliability. And then we have started with the common terminologies which are used in performance testing. So before I start for the day, guys, anyone is having any queries? Okay, I'll take it as a no. So, guys, yeah, please tell me.
Chandra, suddenly your voice got so down. So okay, now we are able to hear. Yeah. Suddenly it went like you're far away and talking like that. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I hope it is fine now, right?
Yeah. Now it is fine. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, guys, each and every session is going to be recorded. So the as we are already sharing the recording, right, the very next day, so it will be continued. The lifetime access will be available for the videos. Each and every documentation will be shared, right? So yeah, we'll get started for today, everyone. As no one has any queries, we'll get started. So let me start sharing my screen. Whenever you have any queries, please unmute yourself and ask your query, guys, because when I'm presenting my screen, I won't be able to see if anyone has raised your hand or if you have put any question in the chat. So can anyone confirm if my screen is visible to all of you?
Yes.
Thank you so much. So yesterday at the end of the session, few people were mentioning for the diagram, right? I'll create the diagram, guys. So don't worry on that. Okay. So coming to the next term. So we had gone through this many terms, right? Next guy is after transactions per second, we have iteration and iterations per second. Now let me tell you what is the difference between transaction and iteration. Transaction, I told you that any interaction between or any request, right, or any interaction between the client and server. Oh, my bad. Any user action which results in an interaction between the client and server, that we call as transaction. Now guys, a list of transactions, okay, like T1, T2, T3, T4. For example, let's say I launch the application. So when I launch the application, a request will go to the server. So that is a transaction 1. After that, I provide my login credentials and login. Let's say that is my transaction 2. Then what do? I view my profile. Okay, I view my profile. So that is, let's say, another transaction, because when I want to view my profile, the request will go to the server and come back and give me the response as part of my profile. And then guys, I will log out. Okay, so T1, T2, T3, T4, let's say this is one user flow or business flow. Uh, this business flow has 4 transactions. But when I complete these 4 transactions, guys, T1, then T2, then T3, then T4, one round basically. What will I call it? I'll call it as one iteration. Okay, I'll call it as one iteration, guys. So one complete round of your business flow, user flow, from the beginning to the end will be called as iteration, everyone. Clear? So if I say iteration per second, so what is the number of iterations completed per second? That is your iteration per second. Like I told, transaction per second means how many transactions are getting completed per second. Now when I say iteration per second, that is number of iteration per second, some people would be having a doubt in your mind now. is it really possible to complete one iteration in 1 second? How many of you are having this doubt? Yes or no? That is possible, guys. When we are testing with APIs will take milliseconds. Let's say I have one transaction where I will first of all create one user, then update that user, or let's say I create that user, I search for that user, and then I update that user. So that can be what? One iteration, let's say. And if each of them is taking 200 millisecond, so my complete iteration gets completed in 600 millisecond. Are all of you getting me? So your iterations, the completion time really depends on your response time. So if your response time is too low, your iteration will also get completed. Clear, all of you? Any doubts, anyone?
Please repeat once again.
Okay. So which part you did not understand? Did you understood iteration? What is iteration?
Yes.
Okay. So with like as I told you, iteration is one round of your user flow. Like when I come, let's say in this user flow of T1, T2, T3, and T4, when all four of them are completed, I'll call them as one iteration. Now, what is the number of iterations completed per second? That is my iterations per second. Like number of transactions completed per second is my TPS, right? Similarly, number of iterations completed per second is my iteration per second. My point was like some of you would be thinking that can one iteration be completed within a second? Yes, that can be done when your response time is low. When your response time is less. So your application is fast or slow? Guys, if your response
Fast.
time is
Fast.
less, your application is fast or slow?
Fast.
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 Fast. All of you are understanding?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So when my response time is less, my application performance is faster. So we'll go to the next one. Think time. This is very, very important term, guys, in performance testing. See here, all of you, when you do this transaction 1, then transaction 2, as soon as you think from a real user point of view, you are a user of so many applications, you use so many web applications. As soon as you launch an application, do you instantly log in into that application? Similarly, once you log in into that application, as soon as you log in, do you do the next transaction right away? Then after that transaction is completed, as soon as it is completed, do you do the next transaction right away? All of you? Yes or no?
No.
No.
Anyone saying yes? I do not want to waste time. I'm very fast.
No.
So not a single yes in the room, right? Yes or no,
No.
everyone? So definitely there is some delay, right, between the transactions which you do as a real user. Now that delay could be intentional, could be unintentional. Yes or no, all of you?
Yeah.
It is not always intentional. Sometimes it is intentional, sometimes it is not intentional. And what are we doing most of the time, guys? We are actually deciding, right, what we want to do next, right? We are trying to decide what we want to do next, and from that only we are getting, so rather we are thinking. So from that point of view only, we have this term known as think time. Okay, we have this term known as think time. And I have already told you guys, as part of performance testing, we are actually trying to mimic, you see, virtual user, right? We are actually trying to mimic, simulate the real user behavior. So if we have to simulate the real user behavior, we have to also take into account the think time. Think time means that delay, guys, between two transactions. So remember, I'm sorry. Think time is the delay between two transactions. So who can tell me if I have 4 transactions, T1, T2, T3, T4, how many think times will be there?
4.
4.
Three.
Yes,
There are
3.
2 answers. Some say 3, some say 4.
3 only. In
3.
between.
3.
The answer is 3.
Yes.
Because I have 4 transactions and I told you think time is the delay between 2 transactions. So between T1 and T2 there will be one think time. Between T2 and T3 there will be another think time. Between T3 and T4 there will be another think time. So 3 think times. Who did not understand this? Do not hesitate, guys. These are fundamentals. If you understand these fundamentals, your journey will be very smooth in performance testing.
Chandra, I have one question. So this think time, right? Can I use my, like, is it like someone will tell that this is the seconds you have to use, or it is user defined think time? So, for example, launch to login to like next page profile. Is that think time I can use on my own, like how much ever I want?
Very good.
Based on,
Very good
yeah.
question. Very good question. So we decide this think time based on real user behavior, and for that, okay, we have a activity in performance testing known as workload design or workload modeling, which is a very important concept, guys. So I'm going to cover that in the future session. Okay, we'll see that how we are going to decide upon the think time value. That is your question, right? Who is going to
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
us, or are we going to decide on our own? So that I'll tell you in the future.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
But yes, for that purpose only, we are going to do the workload model design, which is very, very important, guys. Okay.
Mhm.
Next, pacing. So another important term. Now, guys, think time I told you is the time delay between between two transactions. And you know what is pacing? Pacing is the time delay between two iterations, guys. Now, let me tell you, okay, first of all, remember pacing is the time delay between two iterations. So some people will ask or will have a question in their mind, why these two iterations are required? Okay, guys, when we do
Different
performance
users,
testing,
right?
sorry?
For each user means like each iteration, right?
No, don't go to that concept now. See, okay, if I explain you, okay, if I clarify your query, you said each user means each iteration, but that is again one iteration for one user, right?
Yes.
Are you getting me?
Yes.
That is, let's say there are 10 users, right? There are 10 users and they are doing this user flow: launch, login, view profile, logout. So it is again one iteration for each user only, right? No user has performed two iterations.
Okay. Got it.
Understood? But
Yes.
yes, you are thinking in the right direction, though. Means at least you all are trying to visualize things, which is good. But yes, I'll clarify.
Okay.
See, guys, my objective is to clear your fundamentals. Are you all enjoying the session?
Yes, Chandra, it's really
Yes,
good.
Chandra.
Thank you so much. So, guys, now I'm going to tell you about pacing. So you all would be thinking this one iteration is done like someone who is into functional testing, right? For example, you are having different test cases. Now each test case can be called as one iteration. Now you are not going to run one test case twice as part of your single test execution, right? But that is not the case in performance testing, guys. Okay, what happens actually? This is my client. All of you understand what is client, right? As a user, I will be having my browser on a system. On this browser, I will try to access the application. So that is my client machine. And then this is my server. right? Where all my web server, application server, database server, there can be multiple servers, but I'm representing it as a single unit. Whenever I am, as a user, I'm doing any user action and it is resulting in a transaction, so the request will go, then the response comes back, then another request goes, again response comes back, another request goes, another response comes back. Now this is my one iteration. All of you agree? This is my one iteration. Now guys, when I'm going to do the performance testing, normally what we do the test execution for 1 hour or 2 hour. It can also go up to 24 hours, 48 hours, but we'll discuss those in details later. Ideally, every performance test you will see that it runs for either 1 hour or 2 hours. Now, let's say this is one user flow which is in my scope. Do you think this launch, login, view profile, and logout, will it take 1 hour, guys, to complete?
No.
One iteration.
No.
This will not take 1 hour to complete, right? Similarly, any other user flow you think, you have to book a flight, or you have to book a hotel, or you have to, purchase a product, any user flow in general, will it take 1 hour, guys?
No.
No, right? So what actually happens in performance testing, let's say whether I have one user, or like someone was saying, like each user will do one iteration, right? So let's say I have 10 users. Whether I have one user or I have 10 users, guys, what happens in my performance test if my test is going to run for 1 hour? Shall I erase them, or yeah, let me erase. Let's say my one user or 10 users. Okay, the test is going to happen for 1 hour. Okay, what is going to happen is the user one, let's say I'm doing the test with only one user, okay, and it is running on JMeter. So JMeter becomes my client, guys, because the request will go from JMeter, and this becomes my server. So this user will send the request, means JMeter will send the request for the virtual user. Okay, let's say this is one iteration. Once this is completed, but my test has to run for 1 hour, right? Let's say this takes around 1 minute, guys. This takes around 1 minute. Although I have mentioned it on the higher side, let's say it takes 1 minute, right? In 1 hour, how many minutes are there?
60 minutes.
60 minutes. So what will happen for next 60 minutes? Yes or no? That is the question.
Yes.
So guys, what happens is, once this iteration is completed, the user or JMeter will again start the iteration from the beginning. The same transaction or same user flow, rather. The same user flow, it will again start. Means this request will be again sent, response will come back, again the next request, response comes back, again the next request, response comes back. So that is my second iteration, guys. Next, again my next iteration happens, third iteration. So these multiple iterations will happen for this 1 hour duration. Did all of you understand? That is why when I call this as pacing, right? The pacing is the let's say I have the first iteration here. Pacing is the time delay which I want to give between the different iterations. Did all of you understand? Now let's say I come to this 10 user because someone was saying 10 users, right? Or 100 users for that sake, or 10,000 users for that sake. What will happen? Guys, when I say 10 users, you know what happens in performance testing? It's not that first one user will do all the transactions, then the next user will do, then another user will do, then another user will do. No. In performance testing, when I say 10 users, means 10 users need to access the application concurrently, means in parallel. Okay, in parallel, guys. All the users have to use the application in parallel. So what will happen? First user will do the iteration or the first iteration. Second user will also do the first iteration. Third user will also do the first iteration. Fourth user will also do the first iteration, and so on till 10th user. Then what happens? Next round of iteration for all the users. Then next round of iteration for all the users. And in that case also, this spacing will come into picture. Like, again, it is the delay between each iteration for each user. Are all of you understanding?
Yes, got it.
So why
This,
pacing is necessary basically? You can even remove the pacing, right, in the JMeter. So in what
No, pacing,
scenarios like
you can remove pacing or you have to give pacing. That will depend on the requirement given to my given for my performance testing. It will depend on the requirement. Means my customer wants how many transactions per second with how many users. So that is why we do the workload model design, guys. Okay. And pacing is also necessary because if you keep on bombarding your server with requests, the server might get overwhelmed. It might get stressed. So you have to act, because you see your objective is real user behavior. Now, do you think, let's say your application is accessed by 1000 users in production. Okay, at any point of time, 1000 users are using. So are the requests going to come continuously? They have some delay in between, right? So
correct?
in order to mimic the real user behavior so that we do not overwhelm our servers, we have this think time and we have this spacing. Both are time delays. Only difference is think time is the time delay between your transactions, pacing is the time delay between your iterations.
Uh,
Is it clear, everyone?
Yeah, so Chandra, I have a doubt. Like, for example, there is one iteration, there is one flow, and if all 10 users are acting on it concurrently, and if 9 users have finished successfully, so they will wait for the 10th user to complete the flow.
Now, 9 users have completed which one? Their first iteration.
Yeah, the first iteration, 9 users have finished. For example, the 10th user has not
Yes.
finished. So,
Okay.
so the system will wait
So
until the 10 users have completed.
no, that you have that the default behavior is they will not wait. The default behavior is they will not wait. But if you want to make that happen, that you can do.
But how pacing is calculated, like between user and user, or like between the 10 users and 10 users, like that?
No, the pacing is calculated between the iterations. Look, okay,
Yeah, iteration of the user.
one moment. Let's say I have 5 users. Okay, this is user one. Okay, this is user two. This is user three, user four, and this is user five. Okay. Now remember, guys, when you are assigning the users to a particular user flow, each one of them is going to do the same user flow. I hope that is clear in your mind.
Yeah,
If there is one user flow, okay, let's say book a flight, and you are assigning 5 users to for that user flow, means all 5 users are going to do the book a flight scenario only. They are not going to do any other scenario.
yeah,
Clear? That is understood. So if they are going to do the same scenario, the number of transactions is going to be the same for all of them in each iteration.
yeah,
Clear?
yes.
Okay. So now let's say user one did iteration one. Okay. In this iteration one, or else like this. Then similarly, user two does iteration one. The first block, the first column is my iteration, guys. Okay, iteration one for each user. Clear? Now you see, user 1 does iteration 1. This is again iteration 1 for user 2. This is iteration 1 for user 3. This is user 4. This is user 5, guys. Okay? When user 1 does the iteration, let's say this is transition 1, then transition 2, transition 3, transition 4, transition 5, transition 6 for first iteration. So let's say these all are your think times. This is one think time, this is another think time, another think time, another think time. This is my transition 1, 2, okay, like that. Same will be the case for user 2, user 3, user 4, user 5. Now let's say here my transition ends. Which one? Or my iteration ends, first iteration ends. So here I'm giving a time delay. Here I'm representing it as pacing P. Same will be the case for user 2, right? Clear? Now, when this iteration 1 completes, here you have the pacing, that is the time delay. So after this time delay, the second iteration will start for user 1. Similarly, once this iteration 1 completes for user 2, there will be this time delay, right? And then second iteration will start for user 2. So the pacing has nothing to do between the users. The pacing
Okay.
is between the iterations. Is it clear?
Yeah, clear, sir.
Now,
Yeah, thank you.
This
no problem.
pacing value is fixed, or we can even change it with some scripting.
We can keep it as random also with scripting or with some JMeter elements also.
Okay.
Both think time and pacing, you can keep it as constant if you want, and you can keep it as random also, because random is more realistic, right? All the users in
Right.
production, they do not have constant think time, constant pacing. Yes or no? Very good question.
Yes.
So that can be kept as constant, or that can be randomized based on your requirement. We'll see all these
So there
things
is
in
a
the future,
feature.
guys. I'm
There is
sorry.
a feature available itself for random, right? We don't need to write any scripting for that.
No, you don't have to write scripting. There are
Okay.
JMeter JMeter has its functionality how we can give random think time, random pacing. Understood?
Okay. Okay. Sure.
And if you do not want to use those elements, and if you are wanting to write the code, that also you can do. It is up to you. But
Okay.
when the functionality is already there, why to go for custom coding? Yes or no?
Yes.
And in general, QA professionals are afraid of coding, right? Just on a lighter note, guys. Yes or no? Because
Yes.
when I take these JMeter batches, many people ask me, do you need to know Java? Do you need to know any other programming language? So that fear is already there in the mind. So let's be aware that in most of the cases, guys, you don't need to know programming. But that doesn't mean I'm saying you guys that don't learn programming, okay? Okay, so is it clear, everyone, on pacing?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good.
One question here.
Yeah, tell me.
Can can we give actually different pace time for different user?
Different pacing for different user. Yeah, you can do that, but for that your scenario will be a bit complex. Okay,
Okay. Mhm.
but ideally it is not recommended.
Okay,
Okay,
got it.
yeah. Then guys, network latency. The next term is network latency. But before going to network latency, we will discuss one term known as latency. Yesterday, I have told you about response time. Who can tell me what is response time? Anyone?
Yeah,
Time.
the time to receive the response from the server, from the backend.
Yes.
No, that is not the correct answer. Anyone else?
The
From
number
client
of
to server.
the server processing.
From client
The
to
time
server. The time between client to server.
client to server. So, do you mean to say
The
this is my client, this is my server, this is my request, this is my response, let's say the time taken by the request to go from the client to the server is X. The server takes Y time to process it, and then the response takes Z time to reach from the server to the client. So are you saying X is my response time?
Oh,
X plus Y plus Z.
Y is the response time, right?
Very good, guys. As per my discussion yesterday, Y is your response time. Remember, guys, X is never considered into the response time. If it takes long amount of time from the client to reach the server is not to blame. Yes or no? So as per definition, as per book definition, Y is your response time, guys. But today I'm going to tweak it a bit, guys, because for your interviews and all, because many people don't have this understanding. That is why I'm going to tell you about latency today. When we talk about only latency, okay, when I want to find out the latency of a request, what does that mean? Latency means time taken by the server to process their request. Okay, time taken. Okay, before that I want to discuss one more thing, guys. Whenever the request goes from client to the server or from server to the client, how is that data transferred, guys? Anyone, any idea? When the request goes from client to server or the response comes back from the server to the client, how is that data transferred?
Bytes, right? Bytes.
Very good. In the form of data packets or bytes? Yes or no? In the form of data packets, we can say, or bytes. Is it clear, everyone? Yes or no? So now, guys, if it is getting transferred in the form of bytes, do you think whatever response the server produced, all of the information will reach that client at a particular time or at one go? Do you think?
No.
I repeat my question. Whenever the server processes the request, okay, and it generates a response, do you think the entire response travels and reaches the client at one,
No, no,
at
no,
at one go?
no. There is latency between the transmission between the bytes.
All of you? Anyone? Any other answer? Do you think all of them reach at the same time? The entire response reaches at the same time or at
No,
different times?
it can be
Guys,
different.
it does not reach at the same time. It may not. If the size of the response is huge, it will definitely not reach at the same time. To prove that point, I'll tell you that whenever you are browsing any e-commerce application, right, when the page is loading, are you seeing the different elements loading on your browser at different times for a single page, or all
Yeah,
of them load together, guys, at the same
different
time
time
for
sometimes.
us?
Different time.
Different.
Yes, it loads, they load at different times. So I prove my point, guys, right? That is the single response, right, generated by the server. But all of them, the entire page doesn't load at the same time. It takes, some elements take some time to load on the browser, because the entire response doesn't reach my client at the same time, guys. There will be some difference. It could be in milliseconds, it could be in seconds. It depends on the size of the response. Okay. And I also told you, or you also told me, that the data gets transferred in the form of bytes. So for that purpose, we will now come to know one more term, TTFB. Anyone has heard this? TTFB. Anyone?
No.
TTFB means time to first byte. Time to first byte means the time taken by the first byte, okay, of the response to reach from the server to the client. I repeat, time to first byte means time taken by the first byte. Means, I like, for example, guys, you are doing a running race of a class. There are 15 students in a class, right? Now let's say that entire 15 students is my response, and I tell them to run for 50 meter. I'm doing a running race, right? So there will be a student who will come first, yes or no? So the time taken by that student, I can term it as time to first byte if those two students are bytes for me, and the entire 10 students is the response for me. Are you getting me, guys? From the server to the client, the information will be transferred in the form of bytes. Definitely when they are getting transferred, 1 byte will reach, or 10 bytes might also reach at the same time, but there will be still some difference because they are transferred in the form of packets. So when the first byte reaches, guys, to the client, so the difference of the time, basically when it started from the server and when it reached, that is the time taken by that byte. So that is my TTFP, guys. So out of all the bytes transferred from the server to the client, the time taken by the first byte to reach my client is TTFB. So latency means actually the time taken by the server to process the request plus time taken by the first byte to reach the client from the server, which is Z, right? Y is my time taken by the server to process the request, and Z is the time taken by the first byte to reach from the server to the client. So Y plus Z. And most of the times, guys, people also define response time similarly. So whenever they ask you in the interview, if they ask latency or if they ask response time, please answer that response time or latency, basically it is the summation of the time taken by the server to process the request and the time taken by the first byte to reach from the server to the client. And all our performance testing tools, guys, when we say response time, they give us this latency value, because the tool will not know, right, how much time the server took to process the request until that response reaches it. So all the tools give us latency, but we also call it as response time. All of you clear? But by definition, by book definition, is actually response time means time taken by the server to process the request only, and latency is, so by definition response time is Y, guys. Understood? But for interviews, please answer Y plus Z, right? Because you have to be right in the in front of the interviewer, right? Or else you'll get rejected. Are you getting me, guys?
Yeah, Chindra.
So,
So one question, Chindra. So in this diagram, what is throughput? The C and S diagram.
Yes. So you are stuck with the diagram from yesterday. Anyways, I was going to give a holistic diagram, but let me explain. Throughput means, if you define it in the form of transactions per second or transactions per minute or transactions per hour.
Oh.
Now, one moment. So here, guys, this is one request, right? Let's say similar 10 requests are coming, okay, and all those 10 requests got processed by the server in 1 second. Means Y is 1 second, let's say. Are you getting me? And if I am defining my throughput per unit second, then I will say that my throughput is 10 in this case, because 10 requests got processed in 1 second. Is it clear?
Okay.
What is throughput?
Yeah.
Here I have shown one request, but if let's say 10 similar requests come to the server at the same time, and all 10 requests get processed within 1 second, or in 1 second those 10 requests got processed, so I can say the throughput of the server is 10 or the 10 per second.
This still latency and response time. You mean response time should be if, for example, your Z is 0, then latency will become equal to response time. Correct?
How can Z be 0?
Idea. No, practically it's not possible, but by book.
Yeah, by book, if you go, if means by book, response time is always less than latency or less than equal to latency. But for your interview purpose, I'm telling you guys, latency and response time is same. For your interview purpose, I'm telling you, because many people think that because performance testing tools call it as response time. In load runner, you will see it as response time, but in JMeter, you will see that as latency. Are you getting me? So for interview purpose, remember latency and response time means if they ask you what is response, many people will not ask you what is latency. Many people will ask you what is response time. So define it as y plus z only. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Because from my personal experience, I have seen people don't understand that and they will reject you if you simply say time taken by the server to process the request. Clear? So say time taken by the server to process the request plus time taken by the first byte to reach from the server to the client. It is a summation, guys. Clear?
Yeah, question here. So, for example, let's say if the 10 requests reach the server at different timings, then how we calculate the throughput?
So in 1 second, whatever is the number of requests processed, if only
Okay.
one request gets processed, that will be throughput. Well, the throughput will be
One
one.
throughput. Okay.
If 5 requests get processed, that will be 5.
Throughput. Okay. Clear.
Yes,
Thank
and just for your information, this throughput value will be given by the tool. You don't have to go and calculate. Okay, response time, throughput, TPS, all these things we are going to get from the performance testing tool. Otherwise, what's the point of using the tool? Are you getting me, guys? Okay, so now coming to the network latency, guys. Now the delay, or if I say, like x is my network latency with respect to the request. Z is my network latency with respect to the response. Because as far as network is concerned, are you getting me? Server processing, why not, has nothing to do with the network, because once the request reaches, the server will start the processing. But how fast it processes, that will definitely depend on the infrastructure of your server, number of CPU cores, memory. Yes or no, guys? So network latency, clear? Then non-functional requirement. So for your functional testing, you get functional requirements. For your non-functional testing, you will get non-functional requirements. For example, guys, I'll tell you the response time for purchasing a product, or the response time for the different transactions in a purchase product user flow should be less than 5 seconds when my application is accessed by 500 users. I repeat, when my application is accessed by 500 users, the response time for the different transactions of purchase product user flow should be less than 5 seconds. What does that mean, guys? The response time should be less than 5 seconds for the number of users 500. So I have to do a test with 500 users and verify whether the response time is less than 5 seconds or not. If it is 1 second, my test is pass. If it's 2 seconds, my test is pass. If it is 4 seconds, my test is pass. If it is 4.9 seconds, also my test is pass. But if it is 5.1, my test is fail. Understood? All of you. So that is my non-functional requirement. We basically verify the non-functional requirement. We validate the non-functional requirement from our tests. Then comes the test script and scenario. The test script means the script which you are going to develop, guys, for your performance testing purpose. And scenario means it is not your user flow, but your execution scenario, means how you are going to execute your test. That is your test scenario. And your test script means the script which you are going to develop for your user flows, guys. We'll discuss them. We'll see them later. And then we have the load generator. Load generator is basically the system from where the performance testing tool will generate the load. Okay, the virtual user load will be generated from the load generator machine. So the input criteria or the entry criteria is basically that your load generators machine or system should have access to the application under test. Whatever application you want to test from your load generator machine, the JMeter tool or any other performance testing tool should be able to access the application. Okay, so these are some of the common terms which we are going to use in performance testing, guys. There are many other things, but yes, as part of this training we will come to know about them. So coming to the figure, guys, as there was a request yesterday, so this is my client, this is my server. Okay, this is my client and this is my server. The request, or let's say this is my request, and then this is my response, right? This is my response, this is my request, and this is my request one. One moment. So this is my request one. This is my request two. This is my request three. Okay, and this is my response, right? Response of request one. So I'll write it as response one. Then this I'll write as response two. This I will write as response three. And let's say now one very important point, guys. When the user does one user action, let's say launch the application, similarly log in into the application, let's say view profile and log out. Each user action, what do you think, guys? For launch, while launching the application, there will be only one request going to the application, or there can be multiple requests going to the application?
Multiple requests.
So very good. There could be either one request or there could be also multiple requests for a single user action, guys. So don't think that there will always be only one request for one user action. No, there could be a single request or there can be a multiple request. It depends on the application implementation. We will see those things. But let's say here I will assume that each transaction has one request. Each transaction has one request. So how many transactions are there here, guys, in this figure?
1, 2, 2.
3.
Three transactions.
Three
Three requests, right? Three requests, three transactions. Clear, all of you? So what I can say, there are each request is one transaction. That implies there are three transactions. All of you clear here? There are three transactions, and in one iteration, can I say this, guys? Yes or no? There are three transactions in one iteration because one iteration is one user flow. Yes or no, all of you?
Yeah.
Yes, very good. So in one iteration there are 3 transactions. Okay, next. Then let's say here it is, let's say this is, I'll not go there, let's say A, and then B and C, and let's say here I write D, E and F. Let me define. A is the time taken by the server to process request 1. B is time taken by the server to process request 2. C is time taken by the server to process request 3, guys. And let's say D is the time to first byte of request 1. E is the time to first byte of request 2. F is the time to first byte of request 3. So, what will be the response time of request 1?
A.
A plus D.
A.
Only
A plus B. Very good. RT of request A is A plus, sorry, request 1 is equal to A plus D, and so on, guys. Okay, RT means response time. Okay, request 2 is equal to B plus E. Similarly, RT of each request will have its response time, guys. C plus F. Okay, clear this one? Next, if I provide a time delay between these two, okay, and I call it as
sync time.
T1. Okay, similarly, how many think times will be there here in this case, guys? Sorry,
2.
2. Very good. So TT1 and TT2 are think times. All of you clear on this? Let's say after this response, means after I receive the response of request 3, I'm giving a delay of some delay I'm giving, and then what will happen? After that delay only my request 1 will start. Okay, and let's say I call, see, this is like a loop, guys, means like this, from here to here, right? This is the delay. Let's say I call it as P1. So P1 is my what? Pacing. Yes or no? P1 is my pacing. And then throughput I have already explained, right? Whatever is the number of requests processed by the server per unit time, that will be your throughput. Are all of you clear on this? Any questions, anyone? Any other term you have any doubt here in this list? No, right?
I have one question.
Okay, tell me.
Regarding this response time. So there will be two type of response time, like time taken by the server to process, or time taken by the application to process, or it will be like same
What is the meaning of
application,
time
because
taken by the
sometimes the
application to
application is
process?
also slow. The server is okay, but the code is written in the way that the processing is slow, the logic. So
Uh, Chandra, one second. I have to leave. Just I'll say this. Tomorrow, I think the demo session is getting over by today, right? I'm waiting for the
Yes.
payment to be sent. But I wanted to join the course, but I'm not sure when they will send the payment link to me. Just I don't know, like, you know, I just waiting on that.
Can you please put a message in the group? My team will reach out to you.
Yeah, I already sent it to the person also. But if they are not sending it by today, I don't want to miss the class tomorrow just because I'm not included. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll ask my team to reach out to you.
Yeah, sure. Thank
What
you.
is your name?
Kotai.
Okay, I'll ask
I
my
just
team.
even messaged now telling that even if you don't send it by today, but at least include me. Yeah, sorry to disturb you because I have another class now, so I have to leave.
Yes, understood.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you.
sure.
Take care. Yeah,
Thank
bye.
you so much. Thank you. Okay, so the question which you are asking is valid. Like sometimes your server is having, good infrastructure, but application code has been written in such a way that your application is slow. Whatever. So, if it is on, the front end part, right? Sometimes your browser takes time to render the pages. Yes or no? But sometimes
Yes.
it could be that the SQL queries are taking longer time, right? So your
Correct.
tool will actually give you the overall backend response time. So even if the
Okay.
infrastructure is high, the time taken by the server to process the request means what? It has to generate the response, and it can only generate the response when the application logic is also completed. Are you getting me?
Correct. Correct. Correct.
So when I say response time, that is your overall response time. Okay,
Correct.
understood? Clear?
Correct. So this means that if you want to segregate between the infrastructure, the application, then we can use Dynatrace, right?
Yes, for that purpose, we have to use the observability tools like
Okay.
Dynatrace or AppDynamics or Datadog. That is why monitoring is
Okay.
very, very
So
important.
Dynatrace is like end to end, right? End to end, from the client to the server, everything,
Yes,
application,
everything you can get in
infrastructure,
Dynatrace. Yes,
firewall,
yes,
all the delays it will give point by point, whether delays from the
yes, yes,
firewall or
yes.
delays from the load balancer or web server or app
Means it
server
will
or
not give.
database.
It will not give. You have to go and analyze.
Okay, okay.
As a Dynatrace user, you have to go and analyze. Dynatrace will not generate everything. Okay, means it will
Okay, okay.
have the data ready for you, but you have to go and analyze and understand.
Okay, okay. Correct, correct.
Understood? Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Clear, everyone? Any other questions,
Chandra,
anyone?
I have one question. So, do we have any morning batch also?
No, currently we
Morning.
have this evening batch running.
Do we plan to for the morning or evening batch?
My next batch is not planned now. Means once I complete this, I'll probably start. But you can reach out to Kumar sir or anyone else from Isha team to check if there is any other morning batch.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions, anyone? Okay. So if there are no questions, we'll stop the session for today. Thank you all for joining. Hope you all enjoyed today's session.
Thanks a lot, Chandra.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Chandra. Bye bye.